Hey, what is up everyone? It's your boy Speed here. And today we're going to be following ARTEEZY's Mage. Now why am I making this video? It's because the new Mage skin has recently come out. Now ARTEEZY is not using it. I'm sure as a lot of you guys feel, maybe it's not the best skin. Maybe it's a bit, maybe it wasn't executed in the best way. But nonetheless, aim is being picked more, the hero's win rate has gone up, and this skin is influencing people to pick the hero even more. And therefore, I felt it's a very appropriate time to make an Mage video and talk about decision making on the hero. On top of that, this decision making for Mage will obviously apply to a lot of other carries such as PL, Naga, Terrorblade, Spectre, Phantom Assassin, and Slark, and I would say it primarily applies to heroes like Phantom Assassin and Slark, for these are the heroes that typically need some sort of a lane. At least, that's the considered idea. But let's look at ARTEEZY's decision making to carry this game that frankly wasn't always going that well. It was actually not in their favor for the majority of the match. And last but not least, before we hop into it, click the link down below to sign up for GameLeap.com. The reason why you guys should consider it is if you like the YouTube content here, but you're more focused on gaining MMR, like you're hardcore want to get to the next rank, I recommend you sign up to GameLeap.com where I go in depth about various heroes. Recently I did a live co-op coaching session, it was not one-on-one with the player, and I really related more to everyone watching, not just the one guy. So if you're interested in that, you want to learn from live coaching sessions, other meta videos that I talk about, and a ton of hero courses we have over there, curated by pro players such as your boy Speed, click the link down below, and I hope to see you guys there. So we're here at minute 9:55, and you're going to see that he's on strength treads trying to avoid a gank. So how does he play this? Number one, he doesn't panic, blink, away. And this is always a sign of a very, very high MMR player, when they can be on 100 or 200 health and not disengage from a situation when they don't have to. Now there's also the other end of that, when a low MMR player will stay in the lane or stand next to someone who can solo kill them and they're on low HP. There's a big difference there. But nonetheless, ARTEEZY knows that the Centaur has no mana and therefore no spells, as well as the fact that he simply can't close the gap, and the Phoenix is running out of fire spirits. Therefore, he's not in a bad situation. Also, he has 200 HP, and Phoenix can't burst you through that, so he cuts through the trees, mana voids to cancel the sun ray, nearly secures the kill, blinks out to dodge the astral step and the Aether Remnant from the Void Spirit, and TPs away, of course, on intreads. And now the next question I want to ask you guys is, where do you go next? I'm going to pause the video for a second, not a long time, 3 to 5 seconds, and now try to answer the question. Look at the map and tell me, where is ARTEEZY going to go next? And honestly guys, what we're doing here, you can do this all the time. In fact, it's one of the ways I learned how to play Dota. I would look at a pro match, and I would guess what would be their next move. I would guess when are they going to go on the person in laning stage. And slowly but surely, you start to be able to guess more and more like the pros over time. And so where do you think he's going to go? Let's take a look. ARTEEZY is not going to go back to the bottom lane. The Void Spirit is camping it, and he's also not going to go to the top lane. On top of that, he's not going to go to the mid lane. Why is that? Well, top lane is at the tier 2 tower, and his Ember is farming it, so it's really not that good of an option. It's actually extremely dangerous. They have a Void Spirit who easily could catch him. On top of that, the Veno is already taking mid, and he doesn't want to take away mid farm from Veno. In fact, when you pick a Veno off lane, very often you want to let the Veno keep the mid farm because it's easy for him to defend. It's hard to gank a Veno when he's mid because he's constantly near his tower. And so yeah, he doesn't want to stop the Veno from playing in that area. Well, so what does he do? Bottom's not an option, mid's not an option, and top is way too far pushed up. Well, he simply goes to his triangle and jungles. And this is fine, guys. I think a lot of the time people say, oh, I'm a carry player and you know, I can't find a lane to farm or you know, Speed. I've learned recently that I should always be farming a lane. Guys, it's okay to jungle if there is no good option. The problem is, people jungle when there's plenty of good options. So now in this case, he has no TP, he sees the enemy team and his team fighting mid, and top is still pushed in. So what does he do? He continues to jungle. He doesn't block his camp, he blinks up to the north to waste no time, obviously on intreads, and slowly but surely, shifts his way towards the top side of the map only when he feels that the top lane will begin to get shoved in. And for this entire time he doesn't show, he continues to jungle. And only because the Void Spirit shoves in top, he actually gets top farm, right? This is the only reason. And yeah, now with good attention to the minimap, he's gonna go hit the top wave for the first time this game. And this is what we call good decision making. It doesn't put him at a risk, it doesn't let the enemy team know where he is. In fact, I believe if he showed top, maybe the Void Spirit wouldn't have pushed it in. Who knows? And now I just want to take a look at the flow that he has. So at this point in the game, he sees that the only two heroes alive are mids, so he can push in the tier 2 wave top aggressively. Now, Just to be clear, guys, not going to hit the tower, right? Don't waste your time doing that. But he's actually going to shift his weight deep into the jungle, and this is okay. Will this happen in your average pub? Maybe not where you go this deep. Often you'll just have to back to your triangle, but that's fine as well. So keep this in mind, guys. I know you're watching ARTEEZY right here invading the jungle, and you're going to see a really well-played fight that we'll talk about, but don't be afraid to go from the top wave, back to the small camp, back to the large camp, and towards your triangle, and this applies to both sides of the map. Now looking at this fight here, he doesn't fear the centaur, he doesn't blink away, sees the egg on the left side, gets bloodlusted, and takes it out. Following that up, his next movement is back. Now largely it's because he's fissured, but it's also because anytime you get a kill as Anti-Mage, you want to reset, right? You want to back up and make sure things are actually okay for you to jump in. And now finally, only here when the fight is seemingly going well, right? The Wyvern gets put in a bad situation, he's going to blink in and try to finish him off with the Mana Void. Now unfortunately, the range drop kept the Wyvern alive, but he doesn't even continue to chase. This is the sign of a professional player. You guys see how he didn't even bother chasing that Wyvern? He knew the kill was dead. He didn't even need it. Instead, he goes and focuses the mid-tier 1 tower, which gives him not only more gold, but also map control and the next mid-wave. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is efficiency. Following that up, he's going to TP bottom, and I think for pretty obvious reasons. Once again, the top wave is too far up for him to comfortably farm it. Right, I'm trying to stress this to you guys. It's good to farm the top wave, but not if it's in a really dangerous position. Then you shouldn't do it. Then you should just go bottom. Right? They just cleared the enemy team all the way out of bottom, right? They were all mid or dead, and therefore bottom is safe. Now you're going to see how far is he willing to push it. Right? So in this case, he is going to seemingly go for the next wave. The enemy team doesn't have the best way to gank him. Also, he gets full vision of them right there. So obviously at this point, he's going to be very comfortable from blinking to camp to camp. In fact, you'll see that come into play here. What is the reason why he can blink to this camp? Because isn't this camp really dangerous? Right, it's really dangerous. If anyone TPs to this tower out of vision, this is where they're going to go to pick you off, right? They're going to go to this tower, they're going to assume you're going to blink here and try to kill you. I've done it to millions of Anti-Mages on my road to 7.5k MMR. I've done it to so many Anti-Mages because they go from here to here and with no concern. ARTEEZY does it though, for a good reason. It's because they all showed on the minimap. And of course, he's looking at the minimap because he's ARTEEZY. And yeah, it gets bloodlusted, obviously calling his ogre over, like, hey man, come over here, get over here. Bloodlust me. Now the Ursa's actually going to run at him, right? The Ursa knows what he's doing. He's obviously like, hey, I can pressure the Anti-Mage. I will pressure the Anti-Mage. He is actually pinging out the Ursa because he wants to try to kill him. Why is that? Because the Ursa TP'd, so he's trapped. This is just a really cool movement by their team in general. So really great play by ARTEEZY, and that's right then and there. That's just such a cool play to me. I'd love seeing that. I tell it to my students all the time, guys, be careful about where you TP, because if you do it, and it's a high MMR game, they trap you. And that's exactly what I mean by the trap. In fact, you can do that to players as well. Oh, he TP'd to this lane? He's completely stuck. Let's surround him. All right, and upcoming here is my favorite clip of the entire video. It's great. This is great. So the Phoenix is getting gone on here, right? And what does ARTEEZY do? Well, his blink's on cooldown because he just blinked towards him in the first place, which you guys didn't see. But he understands that in the 2 seconds that blink will take to come up, that's how long it will take him to get to this Phoenix. Maybe it's like 1.7 seconds to get to the Phoenix. So instead, he just hits the dragons. On top of that, he knows that the Phoenix is likely already dead. Now, unfortunately, the Shaker messed up the timing, and the Ember messed up his Slight. Frankly, it was just terrible. Like, what the? High MMR players, SMH. But that entire time, he doesn't even bother. Now, you could argue, oh, he would have gotten the kill if he shifted over. But he was banking out his teammates. He trusted in them, and that's maximum efficiency. In fact, that Ancient Camp is worth just as much as the Phoenix, if not more, considering it's split between, like, 3 people. And so, yeah, he keeps it alive. Now, he actually dies here. Let's talk about this, guys. I'm always cool with talking about deaths. So right here, we see the Ursa bottom. Don't be mistaken. We don't see this Void Spirit. That's a bug. We do see the Centaur and the Ursa. So I believe that him seeing this Ursa is trying to tell ARTEEZY, or what he assumes from this, is that the enemy team likely is backed, right? If you see the Ursa back, you're going to assume that the rest of them backed, right? Just because that's often what people do. However, in this case, that's not what happens. The Void Spirit actually cancels his TP to mid. You'll see that his TP is on cooldown. He saw ARTEEZY TP, so he cancels the TP and is able to find the AM kill, right? Really well played. And they get him. So the main mistake ARTEEZY made there is he kind of just didn't wait for his main kill threat on the map. Also, maybe he didn't know about the Orchid from the Void Spirit, but I think he, being a high MMR player, or, you know, a professional, I would assume that he would know that the Void Spirit is close to or has the Orchid by the 15-minute mark, so definitely just a mistake overall. Alright, now let's take one more fight in the mid game before we get into the late game. And this is just a beautifully played fight. So first off, let's talk about his positioning here. You see how he's staying in the trees, guys? He doesn't want to get focused. Remember, this Orchid, if it gets used on him, or if the Ursa gets on top of him or the Centaur sees him, he can't have impact, right? The only way he can currently have impact with no Manta is to stay on the outside of the fight, stay out of vision, and play the edges, right? So that's what he does here. And you're going to see it really come into effect. Now, you could even argue that maybe he goes in late here. That's fine. You'll see a big echo comes onto the Ursa. Maybe he should have blinked in a little bit earlier just to try to finish it. Because he took like 0.5 seconds, maybe too long to do it. Nonetheless, they aren't able to get to kill onto the Ursa, but he stays on the outside, right? Doesn't overcommit for the Ursa. Understands, hey, he got out. I don't want to get myself killed to get the kill. So instead, he picks off the Phoenix, sees that the Ursa is disengaging. He's going to chase it out. Ursa turns around to farm the camp, blows him up with the Void, and secures another kill on the Centaur. And yeah, so he does a really good job that fight, basically not getting focused. That's like the main thing I have to say. Now, his movement was good attack moving onto the Phoenix. Every time he auto-attacks, he moves in between, and he's able to finish off the Ursa with the Void, the Mana Void. So yeah, just a well-played fight. Keep that in mind, guys. Just do not overcommit before you have your timings. It's a big deal to be able to adjust based upon your items. And now we're 28 minutes into the game here, and he has 341 CS. So if you guys want a good marker for general CS, I recommend at minute 10, you aim for about 60. At minute 20, you aim for about 180. You actually can go a lot more than that, honestly. If you really want to set a high standard, you can aim for around 200 at 20. It can be a bit hard, depends on the game, but I think 180 or 175 is a good goal to set. And then finally, at minute 30, if you are really, really good at the game, you can aim for something like 350 like ARTEEZY does, but I think a goal of 300 by 30 is pretty reasonable. However, you can do better than that and aim for 320, 330. So yeah, those are pretty good goals to set. If you're not reaching it, please do not blame it on your teammates. Don't tell me, because I always read these comments that say like, oh, ARTEEZY's teammates set him up. ARTEEZY's teammates let him farm. What? Like, the whole early game, he got kicked out of his lane. Top was taken by Ember, or not able to be taken at all, and Veno took mid. How do his teammates enable him? They don't. Like, and not only that, well, sometimes they do, right? I'm not gonna lie, sometimes they do. But on the same token, his enemies are also 10 times better. And if you don't believe that, well, frankly, I don't know. I don't even know what to say at that point. And so yeah, now that he's 14k ahead, I just want to put a small note on the last about 10 seconds of this clip, which is him jungling, right? He has no problem taking jungle camps and continuing to snowball. And sometimes I see this mistake with carry players, which is they hit like a 2-item timing or a 3-item timing and they just stop farming. It's like, this happens a lot with Wraith Kings where they get their Radiance at minute like, what, 17, 18, hopefully? Sometimes earlier. And then what happens is they don't farm another item. Like, it takes them another like 10 minutes to farm like a Heaven's Halberd, which is cheaper. And that becomes a big issue for carry players. Keep that in mind, guys. Make sure you have no problem, right? It's okay to hit a couple more camps. If the lanes are shoved in and there's no primary objective to get like Roshan, or your team doesn't want to try or can't, then it's fine. Flush farm. Kill all the jungle camps. You don't have to end the game. Right, I see this issue all the time. People feel like they have to end, especially if they're a hero that doesn't scale. It's not necessarily true. And now at this point in the game, using Nanda's Rune, he's able to burn out all of the mana of the Ursa, eventually securing the kill. Just a well-played engagement. ARTEEZY does not blink in to the last second there. And now he's just picking apart the enemy team. And this is really the main strength of AM. If you can get to this point in the game where you just have your Abyssal, your Manta, your Battle Fury, and then 1+ item, he decides to go Linken's. You can go a Scotty, a Butterfly, it depends on the match. But if you can get to this point where you find a pick-off, and then you split up the enemy team and you find another pick-off, like he does onto the Phoenix, then he finds this Wyvern, slightly messes up his blink, right? Noob ARTEEZY. But then he's able to find the Centaur, and yeah, the enemy team is just, they're collapsing. They're mentally done, and ARTEEZY's picking them apart at the seams, even cutting the top wave afterwards to deal with the top lane that was shoving in. It's just perfectly played, and yeah, he's even going to force out 2 Astral Steps from the Void Spirit. And that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit about your farming patterns. Please make sure that your farming patterns have some flow. I talked about this in a recent website video, so if you guys are interested in that, I don't think it's up yet. It'll probably be up in 2 days or so, but I do a coaching for a PL player, and there's just no flow in his gameplay. He's a 2K more player, and it didn't flow. Like, his farming patterns made no sense, and he's just running around from engagement to engagement, and it doesn't make sense. Make your patterns make sense. The triangle is the home of safe laners right now. Find some way to get to the triangle at some point in the game, and you'll do 10 times better than what you're currently doing. But thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace. Before you leave, just want to say a quick message. If you're trying to get better at Dota, or you just enjoyed that video, I know this is pretty general, and you're going to hear this quite a bit from me. But I recommend you sign up to GameLeap.com. Why? Because I put a lot of effort into the content over there, and generally the effort I do there is different from the content you're going to see here on YouTube. It is different. In fact, I usually go a lot more in depth on topics or into niche topics that help you get to the next level even faster, because on YouTube, I often have to keep it more mainstream. And that's even why I'm putting it at the end of this YouTube video. That's why this is at the end, because a lot of people just watch 5 minutes, they skip through just for like the dopamine spike. But if you are interested in actually getting better at Dota, I recommend you go to the description down below, get your discount right now by clicking the link, sign up, use the discount code that you're gonna see there, and I hope to see you there right now. So click it, and yeah, thanks for watching.